Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gosh Dang Mutant Academy. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Sal. Hey, Sal.
What up?
Oh, my goodness. I wanted to ease us in a little bit, but fortunately, right here in the super chat, by the way, this is live on YouTube. If you want to listen to the audio version, you can do that over. If you're like me, you like listening to stuff as podcasts, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. But we got in the super chat. If you guys want to, we read the super chat on this show. We got a super chat right off the bat, already derailing us, aka 480. Not to start off topic. I mean, you know, that's on brand for us.
Totally.
But based off the last episode, I was wondering, DJ, do you think Spider-Man 3 is better than Homecoming and Far From Home? And I would say easily Far From Home. Easily better. In my opinion, Spider-Man 3 is easily better than Far From Home. Wow. I would not say that for No Way Home, but I'm not confident how much of that is just the nostalgia of the novelty and nostalgia of No Way Home.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like because I would actually the first half before the Spider people show up.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair. That's a little late in the game. Before we really get into the once the multiverse stuff, Doc Ock and everything starts happening. Before that, the movie's a little rough. It's a little rough.
Well, because they keep there's something there. There's a movie under there. It's very Far From Home.
Yes.
Whatever that movie is that they were that they were desperate to get away from.
Mm-hmm.
And my thinking was like, why indulge it? Why even make that movie? You know, here's an opportunity for us to finally, Flash Thompson could grow and learn. We had that great moment at the end of Far From Home when Flash has no family and nobody cares about him.
Yeah.
Where, maybe Aunt May and Peter give him a ride home. Maybe that's when Flash is as much of a dick as he was in the first movie, and it's like a cartoon. There's nothing. Yeah,
it's tough, man. It's tough because I think that's what I would argue is for all of Spider-Man 3's flaws, Sam Raimi is one of the best superhero directors to ever do it.
Yeah.
And so even in his shakiest movie, as far as directing, and I would even say as far as character stuff goes, it's still far above the Marvel Spider-Man movies, because my issue with most of the Marvel Spider-Man movies is they are incredibly middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this will apply into later conversations, because as a part of the show, we like to talk about what MCU might do with the X-Men.
Yeah.
I am having concerns with some of the stories we're hearing about the Fantastic Four movie, that they're doing the same thing they did with Spider-Man. It's like, what if all the things you want from Fantastic Four, what if we don't do those? What if we...
weird.
Silver Surfer Shala Ball now, and what if are you excited for the Fantastic Four in the MCU? Too bad, it's in an alternate universe.
Yeah, well, they're in an
why?
It's such a weird compulsion that they seem to have with desperately fan favorite any property that has a previously established history. Where when it's like, we'll do Iron Man, we'll pretty much do Iron Man. You know,
yes.
If we're doing Captain America, we're pretty much going to do Captain America. No one's going to really think of the Salinger movie. But other than that, if you had a franchise before us, we're going to radically shake things up to the point of barely recognizability.
Yeah. Why?
Why
are you? And it's tough too, especially when it comes to Fantastic Four, and we'll talk about this with X-Men.
Yeah.
Is that you have such an opportunity for so many levels. You have such an opportunity because, especially with Fantastic Four, not the most beloved movies.
No.
And also for your fans, your built-in audience, the reason everybody loves to make IP movies is the built-in audience. All we want to see is how they fit into the thing. And it's so, with Fantastic Four, it's so easy.
Yeah.
We had an Avengers. We don't have an Avengers anymore. We know big cosmic threats are going. So let's have some of our best scientists go up into space. Oh no, they got hit with cosmic dust.
Boom.
Same with X-Men. So there aren't and I really felt it watching this movie.
Oh yeah.
And the movie we're talking about today, don't worry, I'll fit in our topic as we're off tangent. The movie we're talking about today is 2019's Dark Phoenix, which is the end. It should have been Logan, but this is the end of the Fox X universe.
Yes.
And I really felt watching it that Marvel has such an opportunity for somebody like Professor X, who, let's say, in this, he's trying to keep mutants under wraps because, he's been around the block, and he sees the Avengers and he's like, wait, if I make these kids the Avengers, people will like them.
Right.
Yeah. And now you've got an opportunity to do X-Men like the comics, which is a way they've never been able to do it before.
Yeah. This movie almost does that.
Yeah,
it's like
except there's no Avengers. He's trying to make them Avengers, except the Avengers don't exist, and so they're
in a contextless world. They're just like, what if I invented the concept of the superhero? Like that's it's like you're that's a tall order, but like I get it. And if this were not obviously the last, I mean, it's so funny how this movie is in this weird nexus where it's like it's not just like it shouldn't have been made, right? But like the franchise has ended. Like it ended before this movie was being made.
Yes.
And then the studio gets purchased by their biggest competitor.
Yes.
Like while they're having this movie.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is going to come up while we're talking about this movie.
Yeah.
This came out the same year as Endgame, Sal.
I know. Like
the same year as Endgame.
How could you why would you dare show your face? Like I would have New Mutants this movie. I would have 86 did or put it on,
Especially
obviously
since you've already been bought at this point. You're like, I guess this is going on a shelf.
Yeah, or just put it on streaming, or something, put it on Netflix back then, obviously. It's like, all right, just it didn't work out.
Yeah, because we got another super chat in here from Nat Reeds, excuse me. As someone unfamiliar with the comics, with the Dark Phoenix storyline being so popular, do you guys think the story deserves the hype? And I'm interested in your thoughts on that, Sal. But I would say it definitely does. And we'll get into it more. But if they played their cards right, this could have and should have been their end game. You could make the Phoenix story be your end game if you were able to adapt quick enough.
Yes.
To what Marvel? It's so funny. Like of all the companies, I guess DC's up there, but of all the companies that you've been able to look at what the MCU was doing, the one that should have been most like I do have, as much as we bag on Sony, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's not a Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's you can't really do what they're trying to do, which is like, let's make a Craven movie. Like, you know what I mean? These characters don't really exist without Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right.
Fox with X-Men,
you could have easily done.
You could have done X-Force, X-Factor, Generation X, Excalibur, Starjammers. If you really wanted to, like, because even with Starjammers,
Ape on the Guardians,
you could have done your Brood, like the Brood exists in that universe. The Shi'ar, like you had it, guys, you had it.
Yeah, they could have done. I mean, like, and they almost were doing it. Where it's like, whereas Marvel was making Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Fox was making Legion. And apples to apples, Legion is better.
Yeah, but then also they're making The Gifted, and it's like, no, do you guys not?
But that sucks.
X Factor, guys, X Factor. Like, what are you doing? Who was it? That did the detective agency, that run.
Oh, like
X Factor.
Yes,
like,
yes,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Gifted. What X-Men's not even the title. What are you doing?
I know. Yeah, it's like this weird reticence, and all of them have it up to the point where the MCU still has it, where Marvel Studios has it. This like fear of their own effing IPs. I accuse Warner Brothers of having it during the Nolan period of Batman, where they're like, we're so embarrassed that we ran out of Harry Potter that we're just going to have to make Batman movies, I guess. Yeah, and it's just like these constant apologies for Batman. And I'm like, did it make, or it almost made $1 billion? It's one of the most ubiquitous characters in all of history and fiction. And you're like, oh, I don't know though. And they're always like that, to the point of view that you made earlier with the Fantastic Four, where it's like, why are you mucking with it?
Yeah, and it is funny, and it must be like, I don't know what to compare it to, but that like once you get to that level of corporate establishment, because when MCU's young and scrappy and we're the new studio on the block, and like, here's your Iron Man, here's your Captain America, who's your Thor, like, could you imagine them trying to do a Thor now? Like, oh god, how are we gonna do Thor?
Right.
And in their defense, they never quite cracked it, but
I mean, like, what is the best one's the third one that like made fun of it? I mean, and it's mostly just a Secret Hulk movie.
Yeah, they made out of 4 Thor movies, one of them is good. The other, but the problem is, you're like, that's actually not a bad batting average, but you got to understand the other 3 are so bad. They're so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. The first one is enjoyable during that time when you're all just swept up in it, you're having fun. I never throw Thor on for fun in 2024, but I did enjoy it when I saw it in the theater, and I was just like, look at Ken Branagh doing all these Dutch angles for no good reason.
No reason.
And I love that, like, the theory behind Natalie Portman's affectation of saying "oh my god" habitually is because the movie's about a god.
Yeah.
bite me.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's almost a charm in its dumb. It's not, but nothing that is cute and hammy and charming about the MCU, or especially the fledgling MCU, holds a candle to the level of camp, charm, and wit, and silly and goofy that Sam Raimi does with any of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take any Sam Raimi bit over actor over Darcy.
Yeah.
I'll take he stole that guy's pizzas guy, or the disaffected security receptionist who watches Peter struggle in the closet. Like,
yeah. Well, and again, and I think that's a good point, and it's the amount of character in there too, and it's one of my concerns with, because I'm worried when I voice my concerns about Shalabal being Silver Surfer.
Oh, it's going to be misconstrued.
Of like MC. It's like, that's not what I'm saying.
That's not the point.
What I'm saying is, if when I think about my, like, for example, when I think about Zendaya as Michelle Jones, who was decided as MJ,
yeah,
and my brain is, well, just make her Mary Jane, because the problem is I can't tell you one defining character trait of Michelle.
No,
you know,
I don't even know what she was from the basis, you know, like Michelle Jones in the comics ain't this character either. So what do you do? Well, I mean, the same with Ned Leeds. Like, Genki in the movie is just it's Genki. You're not even trying. Like, so
and that's the only thing that makes Ned more distinct, is he is just Genki. We just reskinned Genki.
Right.
But it's like in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Mary Jane wants to be an actress. She comes from an abusive home. You know what I mean? Like, immediately I understand her, and it's not these are superhero movies. It's very
two-dimensional, but like, even then, it's from the movie. I remember seeing Spider-Man 1 in the theaters for the first time, and when she says I want to act, I like had tears in my eyes. I'm like, they're doing it. They're doing the thing. Flash Thompson is a dick. He eventually grows up. We don't really see that ever paid off until we get the Garfield trilogy or duology. But everybody else, I mean, like Robbie, he is the one with integrity who secretly likes Spider-Man. Betty Brant, she's older than Peter, but still kind of a peer. And there is maybe some unrequited sexual tension between the two of them. Like, all of that is all there. Like, everything is there. Jameson, he's a dick until he's faced with a choice of betraying Peter or saving his own skin from the Green Goblin. And he immediately helps out Peter. And it's like, and it's one line, and people are still harping on it 22 years later.
Yeah.
Like,
and so it's, and I was trying to find a good segue back to our actual topic, which is the Dark Phoenix. And I don't have one. That was my segue, everybody. You're welcome.
Yeah. Dark Phoenix.
So Dark Phoenix, which is the, as of, I have it in my notes here for the X Factor portion of this, where we kind of talk about behind the scenes. But at this point, Disney has bought Fox.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into the logistics of all that. That's not the point of this. But and this movie comes out the same year as Endgame. And it's just, again, I'm going to keep revisiting it because there's a really stark contrast. And the purpose of this movie, Simon Kinberg wrote and directed it, and he's been a longtime writer for these movies. And I'm not sure, I don't know for sure how much of the blame of this falls directly on him, because I do feel like there's some studio elements to it.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of muckety muck going on. Like, you can feel it. You could feel it from them worshiping and from them cashing in their Jennifer Lawrence chips.
Yeah,
like the whole damn, Mystique is hot. That was the conceit in X-Men 1 2000. It's just Mystique's hot.
Yeah.
Let's get her naked. She does no business being naked, but let's make her naked all the time.
Yeah.
And then we'll get this hungry actress to play her younger, and then suddenly she blows up. And now let's tie the whole franchise around character who is hot.
Yeah.
And give her a character, give her a whole, like, a thing, and then have her get bigger than this franchise and try to leave.
Yeah. Dude, we'll get to it. I forgot this happened in this movie.
Yeah.
The biggest moment of this movie, I'm like, oh, that's happened? All right.
Exactly.
So anyway, the premise of this film, Dark Phoenix, not X-Men Dark Phoenix, just Dark Phoenix, all right? This is a class act here. Jean Grey begins to develop incredible powers that corrupt and turn her into a Dark Phoenix. I love that it says that as if it's a condition you can get. Like, you don't like Dark Phoenix. Causing the X-Men to have to decide if her life is worth more than all of humanity. On Rotten Tomatoes, No, of course it's not. That's a dumb.
No, what?
Humanity? No. Anyway, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 22% with an audience score of 64%.
Oh,
get out of here, you apologists. Get out of here.
That's outrageous. I'm an audience member. I saw it. I could tell you, no.
Dark Phoenix ends an era of the X-Men franchise by taking a second stab at adapting a classic comics arc with deeply disappointing results. And I do think that that's the main thing here. I don't know. There's parts of this that are, I would argue, objectively bad.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel I don't feel like I could argue this is objectively the worst X-Men movie because X-Men's Origins Wolverine exists. Like this isn't a train wreck like that or Madam Web, like where it's just like, what is happening?
Yes.
It is, however, incredibly disappointing.
It's a failure. It's a total failure on every level. Like it fails on let's count the ways it fails, right?
Yeah.
It fails as a franchise continuation. It fails as a franchise conclusion.
Yeah.
It fails as a cinematic experience because no one cares about what's happening. It fails as a hype fan thing. Like it's not in any way satisfying for fans because it has to be, and it fails to be fun.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing fun about this, and it's still trying to be like, because it's also like Endgame. You know that there was, like, I mean, we saw the like storyboards. Like there was going to be a big Iron Man family scene. There was going to be a scene where Hulk throws Spider-Man. Like they had stuff they had to cut out from all the fan service moments in that movie, which is essentially fan service.
Yes,
the movie,
100%.
And by the way, thank you.
Yeah, it's not. I agree with Sal, but it is one of my favorite MCU movies. But that
easily,
it's a victory lap. And
it is a victory.
We're stopping at different points in the movies we've done, and we're doing all these things. And it's like, yeah, thanks. That's what these events are. Yeah. Awesome.
Literal line carryovers, like Black Panther acknowledging that he does care that Clint's name is Clint, or Spider-Man accessing instant kill mode, a thing he wouldn't use in any reality, or also in the beginning of Homecoming. There's all these little throwbacks and callbacks and moments, and it's like really awesome and fun, and you could endlessly rewatchable and satisfying. It's like everyone is paying attention.
Yeah.
And then you got this movie, which is trying to be a movie. It's trying to be a film. Like we're making a movie here. X-Men movies. I don't know if you're aware. That's comic book stuff. Yeah. This is a franchise, okay? And we need to deliver on the premise of an X-Men movie. And it's like once you got aliens in here, aliens are ubiquitous in the X-Men franchise, and yet it was like a bridge too far. Aliens show up in this. I'm like, shut up.
I appreciate what you just said right now because you helped me articulate why I couldn't like what, because it's not like it's shot poorly. It's not like the performances are bad, and it's like what's not. There's dumb shit, but like what's really not working here? And you got it. This disconnect of because when I was looking at the behind the scenes, they're like, yeah, we want to do something like Logan, like reinvented.
Eat me.
And it's one of those like that's not what this is, gang. That's not what. And that disconnect. That seriousness sucks the life out of everything that could happen here, especially when you're villain. And yeah, guys, gang, I'm going to harp on this a lot. Your villain's name is Vuk.
Like, first of all, what? Where's that even come from? Secondly, it sounds a little too close to what I kept saying every 5 minutes in this movie.
Yes. Yep. Also yuck.
I mean, either one.
Yeah. So in the super chat, what is it about them? I'm super late. I love when you partner with DJ Sal, source fed for life. I love partnering with Sal. So I love fest all around. Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Yes, please.
We're gonna keep this movie as it goes. Okay, all right. Last time, 20th Century Fox logo, the X gets all fiery. Put it out. Get a fire extinguisher. We start in 1975, where Jane accidentally murks her parents because they won't let her change the radio station.
Yeah, and all I could think of was that moment in Chronicle when he was like, when he uses his powers to make the car smash into the other car. I was like, I just saw this.
Yeah.
Not to invoke Chronicle, by the way. It's not like, oh boy,
we just tried the Fox. You just tried the train thing, all right? Okay, dial it back. So Professor X comes and picks her up from the hospital, and this is the part where he just kind of. This scene stuck out to me because he just like picks up a kid. He's just like, this is my kid now. And it made me think about like, you know what? If this movie makes a lot of hay out of like, Rex is flawed. But if he was like Purple Man bad, that would be a problem. That would be a real problem.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna go so far as to suggest like maybe it's like, well, I know that her father sucks, and so I know his intent. He's good. Like he is one beer away from dumping her to fire station way too late.
Yeah. And this is where, sorry guys, all the thoughts I had of this are coming flooding out. But I guess you guys are used to it at this point.
This is the show for that.
Yeah. So we've been watching X-Men 97 too.
Oh my God. Apples and oranges, man.
Apples and oranges. We can get into that. I don't love X-Men 97 as much as everybody else.
Really? I'm like, this is what Marvel should feel. This is what the MCU should feel like this show right now.
And I don't disagree. I think here's my issue. And you sometimes, like when we're talking about this movie's bad, right? And we're talking about it's bad. I'm not saying X-Men 97 is bad. However, when I try to articulate what doesn't click about it for me, I think what I've come to is I think it is very good at what it does. I just don't like what it's doing. I don't like we're resurrecting a kid's show from the 90s and targeting it to adults. To me, that feels infantilizing, and it feels like exactly what comic fans get mad about, where like when people are like, yeah, why are you focusing, you're grown-ups, why are you focusing on kids stuff? This is literally, as opposed to something like Batman the Animated Series or Avatar The Last Airbender or the original X-Men, where it is a kid's show that is smart enough that it can speak to an adult.
Yeah.
This is a show that talks to adults as if they're children. That's how I feel watching it. And that bothers me. Like that, like it feels like the show's talking down to me. And it's like either make a new show that's targeted to adults or continue this as a kid's show, or just don't continue it. Just make a new X-Men show. Yeah.
Well, and you're in the camp that you wanted just a new show. Like you believe that there are half-lives on franchises and it's like X-Men 97 had its day in the sun. It's time to move on. And in fact, like in the 2000s, like we were more willing to do that. You know, like look at how people are like, why are you making X-Men 97 when you should be making X-Men Evolution 2 or Wolverine and the X-Men 2? And it's like, whoa, your point is more like, well, no, why is it that we are even, deifying those franchises? Like, we should be as cavalier about that, just like, oh, that had its time. We liked it and move on. I think this is the perfect way that this show reviving this show seems to me that it's the perfect way to get to get away from all of the trappings you get when you say to a new crop of writers today who who were staffers on like The Witcher or She-Hulk, and you say, we want to make a cartoon, like an animated series for X-Men, but it's for adults. Yeah. Because once they hear that, they go effing insane.
Yeah.
And they start going like, okay, what can I get out? Who's going to be having hardcore sex with whom?
You know what?
What level of non-binary are we going to like ratchet up to an unreasonable expectation? It's like, I don't know. I was just like, take this thing that exists that has like at least something that keeps you from putting too much of whatever into it.
Yeah, I get that. And I guess just for me, it's that like, because the show's just very horny in a weird way.
Yeah, but so's the X-Men. Like, I think it's as horny as X-Men always was.
You're not wrong. I think part of it is also fan reaction to like stuff of like, oh my God, the Genosha, oh, whatever, Gambit. You don't even know this Gambit. This Gambit from this show has had like 3 lines in this past 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Like you're mourning the idea of Gambit.
Well, no. They're mourning because the thing is, Gambit is a boring character who doesn't really have a lot going on, right? But the show made you like him, and they made you like him by giving you the best stuff of Gambit. Like Gambit starts out as like a kind of bad guy anti-character to immediately becoming a good guy because like, it used to be, oh, we have a villain. It takes a few years to eventually soften them up because they're so popular into becoming a hero that every time you do it, the time between villain and hero gets shorter and shorter to the point where Gambit was like bad guy, next issue, good guy.
Yeah.
But like giving the Gambit miniseries, which really establishes like the Guild of Thieves and his backstory and Belladonna and all that stuff, like that's so boring and it's really terribly written. And the only thing good about it is that Lee Weeks drew it. But like when you put it into a 22-minute cartoon show with like primo voice acting and ramped up melodrama, suddenly I love Gambit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and I do like Gambit. because I'm a 90s kid. I love the coat and
he's cool. His attitude is dope. Like,
but even I'm like, yeah, he's redundant. You already have Wolverine on the team. Get Nightcrawler in there. That's a better choice. But it's also like people like going like Yas King to like Magneto. And it's like, you guys know he's I'm tired of superhero fans getting all bent out of shape when somebody like Alan Moore points out like superheroes inherently fascist, and then turning around like, you know what, Magneto is right. Thanos
I hate when they say that.
Whatever. No, that guy, if that fictional guy existed, he'd kill you. Like, stop.
Right.
Cut it out.
He would. Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you put a T-shirt of the character, out there, it's like they would resent that.
But I bring that up. Why did I bring it up? Oh, I bring it up because we talked about Deadpool 2 last
yes.
month. And there's a line in it that at the time when the movie was released, I was like, is that true? Where Deadpool was like, this is an outdated metaphor for racism. And I'm like, is it outdated? And then I'm really feeling it right now, because in X-Men 97 and in this movie, there's a lot of talk of our people. And that makes me feel weird. And it's also like, here's where it is outdated, because they are a different species with powers that go beyond normal human beings. And it's like, yeah, so Professor X is kind of a walking WMD.
Yeah.
That is not the best metaphor for it, because one of the issues with racism is that we're all the same, actually. That's the point.
Yes.
So by saying that mutants aren't, I don't know. The way we're talking about it makes me feel a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it's supposed to be metaphor.
Yeah.
And you as the audience member are supposed to apply that to real life and not to get a $2,000 statue of the character and say that that's your religion.
Yeah. Yeah. And so anyway, guys, we're off the rails, but that's what this show is, and you love it. All right. So hold on. Anyway, Professor X picks up Jean. That's where we're at the first scene of the movie.
We've seen it already. Like we saw it in friggin' what was it?
3 different times at this point. And also, does this line up with what we saw in the Apocalypse with Jean? No. Okay. Whatever.
It doesn't line up with any of them. No, man. But
it should be 20s. If this, wait, no, she's already like 10 and 75, so she's supposed to be like 30s at this point.
Yeah. What?
Cool. But we're a decade. By the way, when you're watching this movie and you see James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, we're a decade away from Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
Yeah,
probably less than a decade.
Yeah. Well, they do say okay. The movie came out in 2000, but remember that movie said in the not too distant future. So
good point. It
needs to be like the only date we do know of firmly is that Days of Future Past takes place in 2029.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Even still, it's pretty bad.
Professor X tells Jean, listen, you're not broken. And I don't know, man, she accidentally killed her parents. I'd be pretty broken after that. Not that there's something wrong with her, but that she needs therapy is what I'm
She needs therapy, not for you to build psychic walls in her mind that protect her.
Is there not an X-Men therapist? Do they not have a Deanna Troi in the X-Men?
No, they don't. It's shocking. There needs to be an empath.
Every superhero team needs one. Justice League, Avengers, they all need
time.
One.
And Spider-Man just needs to have one.
Yes.
He's got to pay.
Dude, Moon Knight introduced a new therapist.
I know. I love that. Yeah, no, that's cool.
She should become like the one. She should
like the night nurse. Yeah.
They need it. By the way, I'm not kidding. I really think that's something.
No, I love that.
Because that's a book. You just referenced Night Nurse. That's a great concept and character. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, a superhero therapist. Boom.
Literally, you can make. I know we don't do this. We used to do comics like this, but we don't make that comic. Like, make it a workplace. That'd be great.
Damage control, but therapy.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I would read that comic. Yeah. I'd buy an issue. I'd
check out that comic. I would appreciate it as a subplot in my regular comic.
Yeah. Anyway, so meanwhile, so back to the present, which is the 90s. We're introduced to the new X costumes, which on paper I like. They're
the E for Extinction costumes. I love them. I think they're great.
It's just the only issue is when it comes to characters like Storm and Nightcrawler, who have a different. In my brain, they have a different. Keep the same layout.
Yeah,
different color scheme.
They have better suits.
Yeah,
like just Storm and Nightcrawler look cooler as individuals.
Yeah. But they look cool. It took us a long time to get there, but they look cool. So there's a space shuttle disaster happening. Professor X, because he's the X-Men or the Avengers now, he's like, Beast, can we go do it? And Beast is like, no, I built the ship to go fast, not to go up. None of it matter, by the way. It will do the thing. I have so many questions about the logistics of it, especially since we raised the question of the logistics of it.
Yeah, why is this a plot if they do it anyway?
Yes. He doesn't change anything. We don't have Forge. That's what you do. You have him call
Forge!
And he's like, hey, man, I need you to make some alterations of the Blackbird like this right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, I can do that because of my mutation, but it's going to be dangerous. There you go.
Boom. And then they open up the basketball court. I wonder how many basketballs they lose to the Blackbird coming up out of the basketball
I know.
court.
I love it. Yeah. It's just I think that was their callback, right? To the
Yep. So they take it into space. Doesn't matter. They built in a laser cannon into the X-Jet that works off Cyclops' eyes. Is this cool or stupid, Sal?
I think it's dumb, but I think I guarantee you in the script it was Cyclops sticks his head out the window and blasts the thing with his optic blast. And they went, he's in space. It wouldn't make sense. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, how could he do it? And they're like, there's no way he could go. He needs to get his physical head outside. They're like, all right, then we have to build a laser or something.
Yeah.
Like,
would this be cool in a better movie? Like if we like the movie more, would we like this more?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think we would just ignore it.
So theoretically, and I'm going to say this a lot too. Theoretically, on paper, this should be cool. All the characters using power to save the space shuttle. This should be cool. It's not.
Yes.
It's just not. Like, for instance, Storm uses her powers to like ice up stuff. How do her powers work outside of the atmosphere?
Right? Because there's not like there's weather.
Yeah, in space.
I mean, there's different kind of like there's cosmic storms and there's solar wind, but key into that then.
Yeah.
Like maybe make it a surprise for her. I've never been in space before. I can control solar wind. How powerful am I?
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because also like Storm's power that they're a mutation make no sense. They don't. That doesn't. No. How do you mutate? It's up there with like Domino's luck powers. Like wait a second.
Don't even bother. It's just because there is because there's a clockmaker in the universe. Yes. Like because it's intentional.
Listen. We cannot pretend that any of these universes, DC, Marvel, whatever, exist without a god. You just have
That's right.
There's at least one of those guys running around doing.
There's an architect, and he thinks that powers are rad.
Yes. Cool. God bless.
Right. Like if there is a physical mutation that could make you like, let's say, speak to animals, and like an amoeba has that mutation or some kind of like thing that on a planet that has no animals, why does he have it? No,
doesn't matter.
I can only talk to bears.
Yeah, especially since the clockmaker in the X-Men universe is really trying some shit out. Like the X gene is the Australia.
100%. Oh yeah, no, there's something there. There's something there where it's like Sinister is like the devil, where he's like, no, I defy God. I want to do this. Yeah,
hold on,
right?
We should say this off air in case we ever get the call to do the X book.
It's true. Hang on to
this. The idea of like a mutant, like we have Apocalypse, we have Sinister, but like a legit like mutant. I guess that would be the Celestials, weren't they the ones around with the gene?
Yeah.
Something there. Mutant God, I like that.
Right.
Okay, so there's a whole thing. I'm going to skim a lot of this shit.
Please.
Gene, the shuttle's out of control. Quicksilver does some shit. It's not nearly as cool as the other Quicksilver shit. And once again, we've made Quicksilver so powerful, we have to sideline him almost immediately.
This is what they do with Professor X and Quicksilver, and it's so frustrating, like, because they don't do it in the comics. And I don't know, like, I don't know how they get around it, but they never do it properly in the movies.
Yeah. It's always his leg got hurt bad.
Then I guess he's off the table forever.
Yes. Which I guess actually would make sense. If you're one power super speed, that's super convenient unless you hurt a limb. Then you're out. Then you're done.
Yeah.
So they need to get Jean on the ship. Classic. They saved everybody but one person. We're not going to leave one person behind. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But Jean needs to go on the ship to use her powers. Why? Doesn't matter. Yes. Nightcrawler's going to teleport her. For some reason, all they do is they put a space helmet on him. It duct tapes it to it. And it's like that. But there's nothing giving you. Are you just breathing the oxygen that's in there?
Just the leftover air in my helmet? That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing. Cool. There's nothing there.
Anyway, so he teleports Jean onto the ship. She's trying to control it. The storm that knocked the shuttle off is the space storm. It's so fun. We basically made it space goo, like Galactus and like fucking Parallax. We love space goo.
And I'm like, all I'm thinking of is Fantastic Four, because it's like, remember when the Fantastic Four were on the space station and the cosmic rays were coming? I'm like, that's the same effing thing.
Same thing. So anyway, she sucks it up. We'll find out that this wasn't an accident, which doesn't really make any sense, but whatever. Who gives a shit? By the time we get to the backstory of this, the movie's well and truly off the rails.
Yeah, like no one making this movie cares.
Nope. Oh, and if they did, it's been beaten out of them at this point. So the radiation hits Jean in the ship. The team really bungled this one. Raven's going to give Professor X read him the riot act for this one, but I don't know. Everybody else on the team should be like, so we quit, right? Because this should have been like easy.
Yeah.
And we just fumbled the ball hard.
Yeah, we're bad. Like, I don't know what the danger room did to prepare us for this situation. I mean, but I like the idea that, like, the Professor X, like, no, we need a public win. We have to do something that, like, is big and a spectacle, and it makes you guys into superheroes while you're all wearing X's. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if in a smarter movie, because there is something here, this idea that, and it is a problematic idea that Professor X has, was like, we basically need to earn their love.
Yes.
And in a smarter movie, like he would never do it.
No.
But I would love to see what somebody like Jordan Peele could do with the X-Men. Because I think that's another issue with because for better or worse, X-Men 97 is the barometer of where the X-Men are at.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for the franchise to evolve its perspective on things in a way that, like, somebody like a Jordan Peele with movies like Get Out and Us and everything.
Yeah.
I think have a good beat on, and I wish more. And as much as issues that I didn't love about the Krakoa era, it did try to evolve the concept of X-Men.
Yeah, I think so. I think it did it very successfully, despite people's protestations. But it's why I think it's going to be really crappy. Like later, like the new X-Men stuff is going to really suck.
Yeah. I just missed. And granted, I wasn't reading every Krakoa book, and I liked Cy Spurrier's stuff in that because he seemed to be the only writer that was willing to be like, "Hey, is Krakoa a problem?"
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Like everybody else was like, "Nope, no problems." And as a reader, I'm like, I feel like there's problems though. I feel like.
Yeah, no, you should. Spurrier and I talked like on a show a couple months ago about like why he likes David, like Legion, so much, and what he wanted to do with Legion, and it's like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. But he has a lot of sympathy for like who he is and what where that comes from.
That was some of my favorite stuff, and anyway, I appreciate the effort to. And I just feel like X-Men could do that. Grant Morrison tried that, and they're doing the same thing they did with the Krakoa era. Like he pushed the X-Men franchise ahead of where it is now. That's regressed. That it's like a lot of the stuff that he was like, well, it's the 21st century. A lot of the way we deal with prejudice, is different. And they're like, nope, nope, we're not doing that.
Yep.
So anyway. Where were we? Okay, so they bungled it. Jean got
blasted
with cosmic force. Mystique yells at Professor X. This is where we get the much memed X-Women line, which I don't hate. I get why people. It didn't bother me.
This line would have existed 15, 20 years ago, and no one would have complained.
Yeah. And also, again, I think it's one of those. People are going to hate me for saying this. I think it's the same shit as the Martha shit in Batman v Superman in a better movie.
Yep.
It might have worked because conceptually know it sounds dumb, but Batman realizing that like, oh, Superman has a mom with the same name as my mom. This is a human. This is another person.
Exactly.
Conceptually that works. It's just bad and in a bad movie.
Horrible execution by someone who didn't understand that. Yeah.
So anyway, again, this is the first instance where we get like Professor X is like, I need to protect our people. And it's like, that makes me because we're all the same people. I guess they're not.
Right. I thought that was superior. Well, I guess I mean like after all those time travel and apocalypses and reboots, I'm like, no. And if that were the case, if he's like, yeah, no, I'm sure in another reality I would have altruistically believed that we need to protect everyone and da. But I've seen what they do. I was in my own head from the future. I saw the killer robots and the in the mass graves. Nope. We're not doing that. It's almost like a Krakoa thing where it's like Moira being like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but that bothers me. I don't like
that. I don't want to see a movie like Professor X where he's like, I've seen the future and it's bad, and so I'm going to pretend to be Martin Luther King Jr., but actually I'm a monster. Like, no.
Yeah, I want the guy that's like, I want more of that conversation in X-Men where it's like we're all the same. We're just the next. It'd be like being mad at your kids. We're the same.
That's actually one of the reasons why I like Fall of X right now. Like, there's a great moment in Fall of X where Xavier is like yelling at Moira, where he's like, I don't even like Krakoa.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't believe in this. This was not my dream. You told me my dream doesn't work, and I embraced your dream to save my people. And I betrayed who I was and what I believed in, and it failed anyway. Yeah. So F you. And I'm like, yes, that's Professor X.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing I miss. I miss the X-Men being superheroes. You know what I mean? I miss the idea of protecting a world that hates and fears them. Like, to me, that's a core. Now we're going to go off on our own little island and make our own little world.
There was a team. The X-Men book was like, let's make a team of superheroes that live in Manhattan and stuff, or can go there anyway. But it really, there's a lot of cool stuff in that book, by the way. Like, that book where like they just deal with superhero stuff, like where they, not superhero stuff, it's very public and they're very effective. Like, watching the X-Men succeed issue after issue was actually really like gratifying.
Yeah. And that's on me. But again, in my defense, it was a lot of X books.
It's a lot of X books. I understand. You know, you need somebody.
I do what I normally do. Who's a writer I like Cy Spurrier a lot. I'm picking up his X books.
Boom. Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Oh, cool, gang. I know you guys were waiting for this, and thankfully we're here. We're at the introduction of iconic X-Men villain, Fuck.
Oh yeah,
played by an utterly wasted Jessica Chastain. Like,
I couldn't believe this was Jessica Chastain. I was like, I don't even know. Like, I it's more like I was watching it and going, I keep being told that that's Jessica Chastain.
Yes. And doing my research after, she did not know her character. There were so many rewrites. She did not know her character's name until she saw the movie.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm so bummed. What a waste. I like
total waste of her character. Total waste of her actor, because she's not very good in this.
No,
I mean, like. And how could she be?
Well, and that's one of the things that I got. Like, I watching why did it just leave my brain? Jean, the actress of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Sophie Turner. Thank you.
I had to have a moment.
Terrible in this.
Is Sophie Turner bad? And then I was like, but no, wait, she was real good in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
No, it's this movie, man. It's
all the movies she's in. Like, these movies where she's in, she's not very good at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't get Jean. Like, every time I see her in these movies, I'm just like, yeah, and there's somebody who's pretending to be Jean. Like, it's not even close.
So all the kids are doing what kids do. Well, they're not kids, they're 30s, but they're partying like they're kids because
well, let's say they're maybe 20. They're trying.
Missed opportunity, I think, to not if we're going to skip ahead a decade.
Yeah.
Reinvent the team each time so where it represents that decade in the comics. Like, this is the 80s team, and it's recognizable from the 80s comics, and in the 90s we're going to be getting like the X Factor version of the team in there. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yep. The problem is we already failed because we made Jubilee the 80s character, and she's not here, by the way.
No, she was busy filming All the Boys. Lana Condor is busy having a better career. She's
good for her, by the way. But
good for her. And we get Dazzler singing, and I realized a couple things in this. One, it's funny to me that this is in the 90s, and we have her go back to her 70s costume, as if there's no 90s girl pop stars that we could pull from as a reference for Dazzler in the 90s. Whatever. Also, what is our fascination with Dazzler, Sal? We always like, when are you getting Dazzler in there?
I don't know.
If they put Wolverine, is Taylor Swift going to be Dazzler? When's Dazzler? It's like, why? I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah.
But why do we care about Dazzler so much?
I don't know. And it's funny because, like, they really wanted Dazzler to work.
Yep.
Like, they really wanted Dazzler to work when they invented her. They were like, hey, pop star that's also a comic book character, it's also a superhero. Like, we're going to make this work. And no one liked it. Like, it did not succeed. And like, man, would they have loved the Dazzler love she's getting now versus back then? And I don't know. It's weird. They love, I like the idea of, like, this kind of world building where there is a mutant pop star that exists that's, like, really interesting. And, but, like, I don't know. I don't know what the Dazzler love is all about. I think it's just because they were like, we want Taylor Swift in these movies. And wait a minute, oh my God, there's also a there's also a pop star character that we can use.
Disney missed opportunity, man. Like, or you could do it now. Hannah Montana Dazzler, superhero pop singer. That's a show, right, dude? That make an animated series set in the main MCU universe.
Yep.
Then you're getting what was that 80s Gem and the holograms?
Holograms, yeah.
Yeah. That's what you do, Disney. You're welcome. Yeah. There you go. All right, I'm going to condense a bunch of stuff that happens here. Jean flips out Shockwave. We learned that Professor X put up mental barricades in her mind to block her from hurtful memories,
which he did in X-Men, in one of the best X-Men movies, X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yeah. For some reason, we keep dropping the ball on this and Black Suit Spider-Man. We keep fumbling those balls to the point that it's like, I want, after the multiverse saga is done and dusted.
Yes.
Cosmic Saga, build it all around these cosmic stories we keep bungling and connect them into one, street level characters are dealing with Black Suit Spider-Man, the other characters are dealing with Phoenix.
Yes.
Anyway.
I want Phoenix to be done properly, especially set against the whole Marvel universe. It's funny because even when Phoenix was happening, it was barely connected.
Yeah.
And so it should work as a separate franchise, but
yes. Well, and I guess this is a good time for me to suggest this. Again, if Fox hadn't dropped the ball in so many different ways, this should have been their end game. If they'd been able to, let's say maybe they do an X Factor TV show, they got an X-Force movie, they've got this X-Men franchise, and they could have all teamed up to deal with Phoenix. Maybe you throw in Starjammers, although I was thinking another way to do it, because on paper, Starjammers is your Guardians. You can make it work, especially in the height of the 2010s, where every superhero property was getting a green light.
Yep.
But set up your Fantastic Four and have them be your cosmic. They're your window into, here's the aliens of the universe. So your Dark Phoenix is your Fantastic Four X-Men movie. They have to team up to deal with Dark Phoenix, and then maybe you could throw in how do we stop this cosmic force that is Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
And you bring in Galactus, and it's then now it's your end game. Now it's your end game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I saw somebody on social media promote this concept where they were like, I don't know about you, but I like to think that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man lives in the Tim Story Fantastic Four universe. And I was like, what a low stakes, what a cool take. And I was like, in terms of hot and cold, that was a cold take. And I was like, yeah, right. I'll allow that. I'm down. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good to me.
The bad year. Well, no, I feel like because they wanted to be dark and brooding, that exists in the Trank universe.
Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense, but I like but I love it. I love that concept because over in Amazing Spider-Man, things are dark and sad. Yeah. But over there, where the rich people with the superpowers are, things are great.
It's fun and comedy.
It's fun and silly, and Spider-Man's watching that, being like grass is greener. Spider-Man's my girlfriend. I killed my girlfriend, and my aunt's screaming at me all the time, and I saw on TV this dickweed wearing like a NASCAR shirt, driving around asking people if his Fantastic Car has a Hemi in it. I don't know, it makes me crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see that. All right, I'm in for that.
So back to Dark Phoenix.
Back to
Dark Phoenix. Jean finds out that these mental barriers placed by Professor X, her dad's alive. And she goes to find her dad, played by Scott Shepherd. You've seen him and stuff, probably most recently Last of Us. He's great.
Yeah, he is.
And we get this classic, the way the movie sets it up is basically that was the one time Jean used his powers or her powers, and he was immediately she's a nightmare and we need to get rid of her. To the point where he understood what happened. If I were in his position, I would just assume my wife fell asleep. I wouldn't have a context for my daughter used her psychic powers to make my wife fall asleep, I guess. And then we had a car accident, but whatever.
Also, we saw that. Remember when William Stryker had his son made his wife die, and he hates mutants as a result. We did that already.
Yeah. So this is all an excuse for Jean to flip out and use her powers. The X-Men show up to contain her. It doesn't go great. It doesn't go cool either. It's not a cool fight, but this all culminates into a moment that I am kind of surprised I forgot, where Jennifer Lawrence Mystique is killed.
Oh no.
She just wants to get out of this franchise. Please let her go.
Please, because she doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She's not even Jennifer Lawrence is a good actor.
Yes.
And she's not bringing her A game in any of these movies. So why bother? Like, well, why force a person who's not going to bring their A game to be in a movie she doesn't want to be in?
So, I do want to just note that Vuk shows up to interrogate Jean's dad. And I bring this up mostly because it's confusing on multiple levels. She has this trick where she collapses people's chests.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, give me the information. He's like, I'm not gonna. And she's like, that's a shame because it's so hard to hear what people have to say when they're screaming. And then she crushes his chest. He's dead.
He can't scream. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just dead. Also, I am unclear, and this will matter later. Is Vuk unique? Are the other aliens psychic like Vuk? Or is she special?
Right?
Because they don't do this trick, and then she tries to take the Phoenix. It's confused. Everything about the aliens is confusing and dumb.
Yes. Yes. And is it because they wanted to use the Skrulls and they've already used them, so they're not going, you know what I mean? Like,
it's worse than that, Sal. It's worse. One draft it was the Skrulls, and one draft it was Lilandra. They didn't know what they didn't know.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the trailer and being like, oh, okay, Jessica Chastain is playing Lilandra. Cool.
Yeah. And you know what? She could have been, because I would have thought, well, no, but she doesn't have the cool outfit. Nobody has the cool outfit in this.
Nope.
Our final conflict is just a bunch of people in tasteful long coats, doing no crazy costumes, no cool alien looks, just a bunch of people dressed kind of sharp, you know. Anyway, Jean is trying to, I don't even know what Jean's trying to figure out, gang. Honestly, I am unclear of what she thinks is happening to her. She decides to go to the best murderer she knows, which is Magneto. Who is living in Kirkland Brand, Genosha.
I couldn't believe that was Genosha.
Yeah, it's some mutant community, unclear where.
They say it's an island too. I was like, more like you're in like a New Jersey landfill. Like you're on like it sucks. It's just it's so uninspired. You know, it's like you think about like taking like screenwriting courses where it's like, if there's a scene between like two characters where they're talking to each other, make sure at the very least to set it someplace that's interesting. Like if they're having a banal conversation, make sure the setting is at least interesting, you know? Yeah. And this was just like, they just threw this out the window. Like every scene takes place in a room or in a field. And it's just like, man, there's nothing good about this.
It is arguably the biggest X-Men story ever. The
right.
Scale X-Men story ever, told with the least budget of any of these movies, it feels like.
Yeah. And you have like total permission. You have carte blanche from your audience and pop culture and like your studio to do whatever you want. Yeah. You know, you could go you could go crazy with it. You could be like, oh, we're gonna throw the Fantastic Four in there, or we're gonna make it be, they're gonna fight Galactus because we have them. But no, they're just like, no, vague aliens, and we're just gonna redo the Phoenix thing, and it's gonna be boring.
Yeah, dude, you could have, again, I think your idea, throw it all out the window. Yeah. Your opening scene is aliens. It's an alien fight versus the X-Men. They abduct the X-Men and take them to the Shi'ar homeworld. They're like, the Phoenix reincarnates across the galaxy. Jean's up next. And the whole movie takes place in the Shi'ar Empire. Done. And this is at the point where we would have forgiven, this is pre-volume, but we would have forgiven like CG background, the volume. Like we were open to that shit. Like if you look at the behind the scenes of Endgame, all of it was filmed on a green screen. We were super forgiving about it at this point. And that would have been cooler. Yeah. Throw in the Brood, have a fight scene with the Brood.
The Brood would have just like what a low stakes fan moment to have. Maybe they control the Brood.
Yeah, right. Fuck it, Sal. This is Fox. They own the Aliens franchise. Just
oh my god,
just have it. Fuck it. Just have it be the Xenomorphs,
dude. I mean, at that point, right? Like it's like, because what are the Brood?
Yes,
they're discount Xenomorphs.
Yep.
With more complicated BS. Like, what are they? They can communicate. They can talk. They're psychic. No, just they go into space. They get sucked into a wormhole or something. They do the entire Phoenix saga. They deal with the Shi'ar, and also the Shi'ar are plagued with aliens.
Yeah. Or maybe they use it. We've awoken the Phoenix in Jean. We need to test her powers. Let's have her go fuck up the Brood. And then you could pull a Starship Troopers. Yeah. Where she's like, there's these bug aliens, and this is like a second. It's just the bug aliens, go wipe them out. Yeah. And she like decimates them. And then you realize
the planet in half, and the Shi'ar are like, no,
and like, or maybe she realizes in that moment she has like a force, like a great disturbance in the force moment. She's like, wait, those weren't just bugs; they were like alive. They had communities and families and shit. They're just different than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. I love that.
Sorry, guys. I know we shouldn't editorialize and remake this movie for them, but also who the fuck's going to stop us?
What's the point? Yeah, exactly. Not Fox.
Knox Fox. Taswald says, can't Super Chat Comic Pop returns. Kind of excited for the New Mutants rewatch. I think it was better than I first thought. We'll see.
Yeah, I liked it when I first saw it. I liked it less the second time I saw it, and that's it.
I've only seen it the one time, so we will see.
Yes.
We also got Nerdpocalypse. I can't stop thinking about Julia Garner as Rogue. Also, take some of my money because you guys are great. Thank you, Nerdocalypse.
Yeah,
Nerdpocalypse. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's Silver Surfer now.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
She would have been good.
She's a really great actress.
Yes.
But I compared it, and I feel like you'll get this, Sal, because this might be too inside baseball for people. But it to me, it was like, guys, we are finally bringing Ghost Rider to the MCU. This is the official MCU Ghost Rider. But this time twist, it's Roxanne instead of
right.
And it's like, what do we? So it's a different character, is what you're saying.
Well, as far as we're concerned, no.
Yeah.
As far as we regard these characters, absolutely not.
Because even this might not make some sense to some people.
Yeah.
Even to me, just make Norrin. It's the same. It's the Michelle Jones thing. Just make Norrin Rad a woman. Then don't say it's a different character.
No, it's not like Shala Bal is in any way inherently feminine. Just make it that.
Yeah.
Like
just say. And I'm convinced, not to get derailed in this, but I'm convinced they're doing it to give Johnny Storm a love. They're gonna like combine stuff from like Frankie Ray's Nova and stuff to give Johnny Storm a love interest. And again, I would respond, you could have Norrin Rad be Silver Surfer and still be Johnny Storm's love interest. I get that people would be even more mad, but fuck them is whatever. I just like Norrin Rad. I just like Norrin Rad.
No, I agree. I remember when they were talking about like, oh, Keanu Reeves will be him, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be if Keanu was just quiet and stoic and just
truthfully, any actor that they were considering for Reed Richards would be a great, Dev Patel would be fantastic. Matt Smith would be great. Like literally go to your list of non-Reeds
and then make them Norrin.
Pick one of those guys who's, I think ever since I saw Monkey Man, Dev Patel's been on the brain. It's like one of these people needs to snap up Dev Patel. Like
I know. I agree. He's great.
Okay. Whatever. She goes to Magneto. I'm going to be honest with you, Sal. This conversation with Magneto makes no sense. I don't even understand what her. It's basically like, hey, you've killed people. Does that make me a bad person? And Magneto and gang, this touches on one of my issues with Magneto. His big thing is like, yeah, I used to kill people, but it didn't make me feel better, so I stopped. Oh, so you're still a fucking asshole. It's
right,
not killing's bad. You're just like, it didn't fix me, so what a selfish prick.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's what Magneto is. Magneto is a selfish prick.
But everybody loves him so much, and it's like, if you're going to make Magneto your anti-hero, at least have him show a little bit of like, feel bad about the genocides, dude. Just either my dog just knocked over a table. At least like either if you want Magneto to be good, don't have him be genocide guy.
Yeah.
Or at least have him feel bad about trying to genocide people.
Right. Or if you want him to be a genocide guy, then he's a mustache twirling, like you know what I mean? Like people love Dr. Doom because he loves being Dr. Doom. Like there's some characters that are fun villains where like they just love being the villain.
Yeah, man. And just having to come up to me and be like, you know what? Dr. Doom's right. Get the
fuck
out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
If you do, you're wrong. Like, there's no Hans Landa was right shirts.
Yeah, man.
Right. But I do love watching Hans Landa talk and do stuff.
He's a good villain.
He's a great villain. He loves being one.
Here's what I think. What's Joseph up to? Remember that Magneto?
Joseph?
God. What's he up to?
I think they brought him back in Krakoa. I don't remember.
If you want your good anti-hero Magneto, bring back Joseph, man.
Yeah, I don't recall. I thought they brought back Joseph, but I'll have to check.
Because I also think the clone thing is a good way to like, why is Magneto still young after being a kid in the Holocaust? He's been cloned a bunch. And that's a good way to bring back a clone and have me like, wait, hold on, time out. I did what now?
Right.
I was just woken up. I missed the past 40 to 50 years. What have I been up to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, like step one is not doing any more of that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. Did it work? No. So shocker.
Yeah.
Anyway, So I don't know what she's trying to get out of Magneto. It's basically like, hey, tell me I'm a good person, even though I'm. But it's clearly she's not in control. Whatever.
No, they did bring back Joseph.
Yeah, good. I like, again, a 90s kid. I like the clones. Bring Riley, Joseph, do cool stuff with them.
Make a clone crew.
I'm serious. Do the clone crew. Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a whole helicopters show up and Jean flips out. It's the military and they sort of have a standoff with Magneto, but then Jean flips out and starts busting up the helicopters. Magneto's solution to this is to use his magnetism to hold one of the helicopters so everybody can get into it, and then he throws the helicopter away. It's not run away on foot. It's like, no, this thing that this mutant's actively trying to destroy, get on it.
Yep.
And I will throw it away.
Yes, I will throw it.
Cool.
It's not going to happen. But yeah. Also, this creates a problem because it makes it look like Jean and Magneto pretty much have the same power. Like,
mm-hmm. And by the way, I'm going to get into the one, as long as I forget the genocide Magneto did in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
All the millions of people he killed. As long as I forget that, we're back to a Magneto like I'm more on board with. And also, it is a reminder, why do we love Magneto so much, especially in the movies? His powers are cool, dude. We're going to get into that more later. His powers, these movies have never failed to come up with cool way. Other mutants fumbled the powers. Magneto, we got that shit on lock in these movies.
That's very true. That's very true. Now, and I think it's also we got a Jennifer Lawrence situation where it's like we've got Fassbender under lock and key.
Yeah,
put all of them, even when it doesn't make any sense to have him in them.
Yeah, yeah, and also should note this is the first one, specifically of the Fassbender Magneto movies, that he doesn't betray them.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. So I actually don't dislike Magneto in this movie.
No, and they should have gone. I don't remember. I just saw this and I feel like I don't remember, but like they don't make him headmaster, right?
No.
Because they should. Like that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I actually don't hate the ending for this movie.
Because I watched apparently there was an alternate ending to this movie. We can get into it later. I don't know if you saw it, but I watched it and I was like, yeah, that does suck.
Okay, cool. I'm excited for you to tell me. I didn't see it.
Okay, good.
Meanwhile, pundits. Okay, so we've gone from like the president is calling Professor X directly to have him help save him to they're creating concentration camps now because Jean Grey's flipping out. Yes. Which I get what we're doing. It feels sweaty. It feels like I get it.
Uh-huh.
I understand. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Vuk, God, I hate that name. Finds Jean. She's masking herself as an old man. This, by the way, I would have assumed would have been Stan Lee's cameo, the old man that Jean pretends to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would have been Stan Lee.
Yeah. Thank God he's not.
Yeah. Beast tells Magneto that the person Jean was talking about that she killed and hurt was Mystique, and Magneto, being Magneto, immediately flips like, well, I gotta kill her now.
Yep,
that's my default setting. Let's murder everybody.
Yeah, and we got to make a team of lame villains or lame characters, and also Beast.
Why can't it ever be cool, Sal? Why can't it be cool?
I don't know.
And I actually like because this is it feels like the first time in a long time that we've gotten old school team mutant team A versus mutant team B.
Yeah,
and I think that might be the best part of this bad movie. But why is Magneto stuck with Hair Guy and Knife Girl? Like, you guys have.
I couldn't believe how lame they were.
I was even, and this doesn't make any sense, but I think you'll forgive me for seeing Hair Guy and be like, "What if this was Omega Red?" I know it wouldn't make any sense, but why not?
Right?
Why not?
I thought it was Omega Red. I was like, "This is the worst Omega Red I've ever seen." But also, I guess I'll watch it. And I'm like,
"What of the millions, let's say hundreds of popular recognizable mutants?
Yeah.
What are we holding out for at this point?
I know.
Why are we pulling any punches at this point?
It's like literally the lease is up on your store and you need to empty the store now. And we're like, we're only going to discount prices 20%. Like,
bring Sabretooth back. Who gives a shit, man?
Bring back Sabretooth. How about they pull in Wolverine? I mean, like, that could have saved this movie is them being like, we need Wolverine. I'm sorry. We're just going to we need to get Wolverine.
Come on, gang. What are we doing?
Like, did they really think they were going to save it?
All right, so Vuk explains her stupid fucking backstory, which is it's so stupid. The Phoenix destroyed their planet, whatever these aliens are, which I believe I looked up at one point. I think they're from the comics. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares.
I don't care. Yeah, I remember looking at it. I remember seeing the name being like, I don't recognize
Tabari, whatever. Who gives a fuck?
Tabari, you got it. Yeah.
Vuk is probably from the comics too. Who gives a shit?
Yep.
Again, what are we saving? What are we saving for? It doesn't matter.
Right.
So
unless like Marvel, like because they own it, they're like, you can't use anything good.
You know what? Actually, yeah. Listen, we saw a cut of this movie. You guys don't. These are the toys you don't get to play with anymore.
Yeah, you can't play with anything. Anything that we might want to use.
I wish we'll get into this later. I wish they'd done that with this whole movie because I'm worried that they're not. We've fumbled the ball twice. We're not going to do Dark Phoenix again. Except you're in the perfect position to do it.
I know.
In the perfect position to do it. You got the Guardians.
Yep.
You got like you could build the whole like you're gonna have Silver.
You got the Ravagers. You could do the Starjammers instantly. Hell, the Starjammers could be your next Guardians franchise.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Anyway, so Phoenix destroys Vuk's planet. For some reason, the survivors start following the Phoenix under the assumption that somehow they can get it to restore their planet.
Yeah.
They then follow it to Earth where it possesses Jean. They do not. This was an accident. I guess they didn't know it did this, even though I guess their plan hinges on it. And so it looked at it. Fortunately, instead of destroying our planet, it just got sucked into Jean.
Yeah, but Vuk wants to suck it into herself.
Yeah, which again questions. So is Vuk the Jean of her species?
Right? I don't think so.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Again, it's just an easy rewrite. Just be like, listen, the Phoenix. It's the Phoenix. Yeah. By the way, the way they get the name is some off-screen student we learn call Jean the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Your alien's already speaking English like it's their first language. Who gives a shit?
They're making like references to idioms and colloquials they would never know.
Who gives a fuck? Just have it be the Phoenix. Because it's a Phoenix, it reincarnates. For some reason, the Phoenix of their world, maybe it was supposed to be Vuk and it wasn't, and so their world got destroyed.
Yes.
So now she's like, we followed it to see who it went into next. That's you.
Yep.
And so now I want to redo the fumble on our world or something like that. It's just a simple, like, spend 2 seconds to think about what you're saying.
2 seconds. I mean, like, just to, that it's one of those things where it's like, I was just too close to it.
Yeah. 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 Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Stupid backstory. Sorry.
That's right.
Okay, so Magneto and Hank go to kill Jean. Charles, Scott, Storm, and Nightcrawler go to save her. This is also stupid. Nightcrawler, he says, Nightcrawler, you're going to teleport us there and leave. This doesn't what ends up happening, and it doesn't matter. And he says, Nightcrawler, I will tell you where we're going. So is Nightcrawler able to teleport across country now?
Right? Because
Professor X is able to goose his powers?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I guess.
So they get to New York and it's stupid. One of their big action numbers happens in a hotel lobby.
Yeah. I know. Again, it's just like set it in the hockey rink, put it on the moon.
Yeah.
Go to real Genosha. Set it. I mean, we like literally. You just did what 3 movies ago? Oh my God. One of the most celebrated ones was on the White House lawn.
Yeah. Pick a spot, man. Have it be in the Vuk spaceship.
The Great Wall of China. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like a hotel.
A hotel lobby. This movie burns their one F word when Cyclops tells Magneto, touch her and I'll fucking kill you.
Ooh, you're in trouble now, Scott.
Okay, so there's a big mutant fight. Because again, these movies' bread and butters are people using their powers against each other. So I'm glad this movie does it. But again, it's the X-Men versus hair guy, and this knife girl that I think is supposed to be psychic. What's her face? Olivia Munn was supposed to return as Psylocke, but then due to scheduling issues, couldn't. I'm going to bet you Knife Lady was supposed to be Psylocke.
Oh, I thought she was another Psylocke.
Psylocke.
You remember the Psylocke from X3? Yeah, I was like, oh, she's another Psylocke. At that point, it's like, why not get the actor who played her in X-Men 3 and bring her back and just be like,
yeah, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The big fight. There's a cool moment where Jean starts to crush Magneto's helmet on his head.
That's been. I remember just like seeing his face and just being like, dude's really going for it. Like he looks, I don't know what's supposed to be happening. Like, is his head getting squished? Because I feel like it would just give really quickly. But like in any case, he's like, and I'm just like, he's doing some early emoting.
Maybe he's trying to magnet power. He's using his magnet powers to keep they're fighting, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, some undisclosed government group shows up and stuns the mutants and collars them.
This is the most like gross sequence where I was like, yikes, like look at them like with the like lassos, you know, like they're cattle, and I was like, ugh, like this is hammering the point home. I was like, all right, you're doing the thing. You're treating them like animals.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they get on the train, and I'm gonna yada yada through this. Basically, this is a big generic aliens versus mutants in peacoats. And it's not bad. Actually, it's not. I will say, when I first saw this movie, I went to a screening of this movie, and the fire alarm kept going off during this moment.
Oh my god.
Which was wild. This is not the worst part of this bad movie.
No, it's just like, who cares? Like at that point, my soul is just gone. I'm like,
yeah. Because the villains are boring, and I don't give a shit. I actually don't even understand what's happening. So, like, I guess Buck is trying to suck up Jean's powers.
Yeah.
They even pull the classic, like, you want it's Hulk, the angry Hulk movie. Yeah, I'll give you the power, which isn't even what kills Buck.
No.
By the way, do I have in my? I don't even remember how Buck fucking dies.
No, she does. Like she's sick. She explodes.
Like
her power.
With the power, and she gets the. You say my emotions make me weak, but they make me strong. Sure, whatever, man.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing that and being like, "Is that what you think that this movie is about?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you trying to tell me that like you feel it all I could think of, and it's such a weird esoteric connection, but I was thinking of is it Avril Lavigne, where like she has a song where she's like, "Life's like this," and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for this affluent white 20-something girl to tell me what life's like."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'm just like, but that's what made me think of, where it's like, so the movie here is about it's okay to feel things.
Yeah,
it's okay to have emotions, and I'm like, I don't know, is there like a camp that's saying you can't?
Yeah, it was that what? Oh, when Buck says your emotions make you weak, you know.
I know, but she said that, but she's an alien. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah. Cornet Chris, just hearing Avuk wants to suck the Phoenix.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, you know,
I didn't
think a movie, man. Nerdpocalypse says, "What the fuck was Apocalypse fight if Phoenix just showed up?" Yeah, actually, a good question, because this doesn't line up with Apocalypse. Phoenix shows up at the end of Apocalypse.
Oh no! I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, in Apocalypse, they were like, "No, it's the same Phoenix crap as as X-Men 3. She has a secret Phoenix inside of her, and it's the manifestation of her powers." Yeah, no, it was just that's a reshoot. They just they just forgot.
Yep. Meanwhile,
you missed one. Did you do the other? Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Yeah, it's having a good day. Hayden Hannibal is apparently having a good day. This is unrelated, but my comedy idol Doug Stanhope randomly called me this morning. That's wild. Nightly annual live stream of you all, new back issues and new resume. Not even noon, and we are flying. Good for you, man. So yeah, Jean sacrificed herself to take out the enemy of all enemies, Buck.
Oh no!
And we finally holding on to this one, the fiery bird imagery for some reason, holding on this one.
I know. Just for the last like moment of the movie, like
we love our multicolored goo, man. Remember the end of WandaVision where it's just two characters throwing multicolored goo at each other?
Oh yeah, it was so cool. Yeah. That was totally worth all the real movie stuff that was happening in that show.
Yeah. Movie ends with it's the school is now the Jean Grey school.
What?
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to that school and being like, "Oh, by the way, you got to change all the letterheads for Jean Grey."
Yeah.
Who is that? Oh, she was an upperclassman that kind of tried to kill her. Remember that girl tried to kill everybody earlier?
Yeah, it's her school now. Also unclear, was she a teacher? Was she a classmate? It's how old is she? 20, 30, teenager? Unclear.
Yep.
Jean, poor Sophie Turner, she gets saddled with this dumb opening and closing video that's just awful. But it's just like, this isn't the end of X-Men. Joke's on you.
It sure is.
It sure is. And I don't hate this. This definitely feels like a reshoot.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like, we know this is the end of the Fox franchise. And if I'm being honest, there's no better way to end the Fox X-verse than Magneto and Professor X playing one last game of chess. And even with all my issues of Magneto and all the things we've had him do that I'm apparently supposed to forgive him on this shit, it's like, yeah, man. I mean, these guys are supposed to be in their 60s or 70s at this point, but fuck it. And then we get one final shot. They go to play chess in Paris or wherever, and one final shot of a flaming bird overhead. Is there a post-credit scene? Fuck no, there isn't. Fuck
hell no. I was really looking for it. I was like, oh, what's there? What do they know?
Oh my god. Okay. That's the movie, gang. That's the movie, gang. Especially Tangeny today, but you know what? You're welcome. So here's some behind the scenes stuff. This is a segment of the show we like to call X Factor.
I deliberately didn't look up anything. I was like, I know this movie is mired in like post-production hell, but I was like, I'll let DJ handle that. I want to know. I want to learn.
Here we go. Okay, so right off the top, this film grossed $252 million worldwide on a $200 million production budget, and reportedly lost 20th Century Fox $133 million after marketing and distribution costs.
Yeah, that tracks.
Which makes it one of the biggest box office bombs of all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oof.
I remember. I looked up the budget. I was like, $200 million.
We got to stop, man. That's too much money. That's too much money, dude. Once you get to the point where your Argyle movie is $200 million, nah, you're done.
It's money laundering. No, the movie did not cost that much money. You just lined your pockets with it.
Nope. Concept art revealed that originally the film was to feature a return of Emma Frost and a new incarnation of the Hellfire Club. They were replaced with Skrulls as the film's main villain after the script was rewritten, and the Skrulls were replaced by the Dabari after reshoots.
Oh, so they were Skrulls.
They were Skrulls.
And what's funny is they had the legal right to use Skrulls. You could have just used Skrulls. It would have been fine.
Just use Skrulls. Now that you say it, I think you're right. I think once Disney got it, they're like, nope, no to Skrulls.
Yep.
You should have just done the Shi'ar, man. Because then you could have had what's Lilandra's Justice League guard, like Alien Superman, Alien
Gladiator.
The Gladiator, but he's part of that team called? Her Royal Guard or something.
The Royal Guard, yeah.
Yeah. You could have had them. You could have just had them. That would have been
cool.
But why you're right, they're so afraid. Yeah. Chastain was originally in talks to join the cast as Shi'ar Empress Lilandra, the film's main villain.
Cool.
Singer was originally announced to be being a producer on the film, but following his allegations of sexual abuse, Kingbird stated he was not involved and his name was not in the film credits. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
In May 2016. Okay, so I don't need to go into all this, but basically it was this was supposed to be the first of a new trilogy focusing on the younger version of the original X characters. It was originally planned as a 2-film story with parts to be filmed back to back. However, in late pre-production, the studio decided to only produce 1 film with the prequel cast, as new management did not want any more X-Men movies set in the past due to the reception of X-Men Apocalypse. This resulted in rewrites such as replacing the Hellfire Club with alien antagonists. For a while, it was still possible for the Phoenix story to be continued in a potential sequel with an eventual 3rd film that would have been a crossover with New Mutants based on the Inferno storyline, but those plans were ultimately canceled after the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney, caused the film rights to revert to Marvel.
Yep.
This resulted in footage being cut from the Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants that had been intended to expand upon in sequels. So now, Sal, what, if any of this, do you think the MCU will salvage?
I hope. Go ahead.
But before we do that, Apocalypse says Dark Home for gifted youngsters.
Yeah, they should have called it the Dark Home.
Yes. So what, if any of this, will be used?
Phoenix.
Okay.
I think it's an easy fix. You don't make the Phoenix Saga, right? But you do reference the Phoenix as like a cosmic force. I mean, I was mind blown when I think in Guardians 2, they're jumping around. We see Watchers, we see more Celestials being involved. We see references to. I was like, yes. Now you can start like dropping Shi'ar. You could drop like the reference to, like, we got like, you could have a great scene. So I know they're thinking about doing Nova.
Yeah.
That like is a paraphrasing of Nova dealing with the heroes, where he's like, you guys need to get your heads out of your asses. We got Phoenixes, Galacti, and Eternals roaming around up there. You have no idea what's up there.
Yeah.
Like, we got Annihilises, we got, but like just saying the Phoenix, the Galactus, the Annihilus, like just referencing it. We don't even need to see them for another 10 years.
I think you're right. Because that's what and unfortunately, I think how you and I feel, the studios feel, for whatever reason, you do need distance from this stuff. That's why James Gunn didn't come out of the gate with like, here's our Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Even though I think he could have and would have been fine.
Easily could have, yeah. I mean, he did, basically. The Justice League is in Superman. It's just the Justice League International. You're
right. It's correct. That is correct. But you create some distance. So we're hip deep in the multiverse saga, for better or worse.
Yeah.
There are rumors that there's going to be at least a soft reboot post Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I think you could say whatever you name the next saga, people like call it the Mutant Saga. That's dumb. Don't do that.
No.
But I get what you said. But you essentially build to your Avengers versus X-Men, and that could be around. I know in that comic, multiple people get the Phoenix. I don't particularly like that.
Few did.
Yeah, it could be mostly because, again, like just do the thing, right? You don't need. I don't need Krakoa out of the gate. I just want to see X-Men in the same universe with Spider-Man and the Avengers. That's all I need you to do.
That's it. That's exactly right. It's such a simple thing.
Yeah, give them their costumes.
Yeah,
until core X-Men stories that take place in this universe, and then you can build to
I know. Oh, dude, they were talking about how like, they're thinking Mr. Sinister will be their main villain in the first arc, and I was like, Mr. Sinister's so complicated.
Yeah,
like it's such a problem because you're going to be dealing with clones, and you're going to be dealing with like genetics, and you're going to be dealing with like.
He's the new villain of X-Men '97. They tried to tease him in all the
other movies. Yeah.
So I think you build to your Avengers versus X-Men, and that could basically be like, I hate to evoke this movie so directly, but just like what do we do about Phoenix? Like Jean's Phoenix, and you got the Avengers being like, maybe we should kill the Phoenix, and the X-Men are like, we're gonna protect our person, and that's their catalyst to Avengers versus X-Men.
Yep.
And again, I would like to see them, and I know it's trickier with the symbiote. It's like, I want to see you've got all the toys.
Yes.
So I want to see you do it. I want to see the Black costume story done right. I want to see the Phoenix done right. It's not lost on me that those are both cosmic stories.
Yeah.
So maybe you kind of like lean into that. Like you've got not only the Guardians, but you got the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Like again, go back to my idea. Like the Avengers are struggling what to do with Phoenix. So maybe they like lure Galactus in to go toe to toe with the Phoenix. Just
all right,
again, man.
I take it. I mean, like just trying things, playing with your universe, not being afraid of it.
Yeah, but it is interesting watching this because it does make me think about the era of the MCU we're in, where like watching this, it's like, guys, you did it with Logan. Logan was your out.
Yes.
And thinking about the MCU, it's like Endgame was your out, man. You guys should have taken a breather.
Yeah.
Just hit the brakes a little. I know that's not how Hollywood works.
Hell no.
We milk the thing until the husk is dried.
Yes.
But like pump the brakes, give us all a breather, maybe try some new shit for once.
Please.
And then after we've gotten a little, hey guys, the MCU's back.
Yeah.
Phase 4, here we go.
Right. Yeah. No, that would have been way better than.
And we're coming out of the gate. Like, no offense. I liked the Black Widow movie. I liked Eternals. But like, could you imagine if they're like 5-year break? Our first movie of Phase 4 is Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
No, that was a botch.
Yeah.
What they did.
And then you could start looping in, like start with Fantastic Four, start with the X-Men.
Yeah.
And then you can start seeding back in some of the old guard.
Yes.
They're still around. Bucky's still around. Scarlet Witch is still around. But now we're focusing on these new stories.
Yep. I know.
Crazy, guys. Crazy. All right. Yep. Let's rank this fucker. Fucker, excuse me.
Fucker, yes.
Fucker. Let's rank this fucker. In Generation X, Sal and I texted about this last night, and we decided we should start from the top of our list and work our way down. Our number one, this is our ranking of the X movies, which is going to end next month. New Mutants is the last one.
Yeah.
As of right now. All right. So I'll start us off. My number one X-Men movie, kind of to my surprise, is Logan. That's my number one.
Yeah.
What's your number one, Sam?
I think X2. X2 might be just the title holder for me because it feels the most X-Men. Like,
you don't think New Mutants could top it? You don't think New Mutants?
I mean, it's tough. We do get a Demon Bear.
Yeah.
Which I did really want.
They love that stuff, man. Like in the X-Men 97, we're dealing with, what is it just called antagonist or something?
The adversary.
Adversary. It's like, all right, guys.
Yeah. I know.
We could bring Shadow King back. I get it. It's from the comics and shit, but like, all right.
Yeah. Well, we got to save the Shadow King. I mean, no, Shadow King, I think, shows up. He shows up
you got Forge being Forge. Tech guy, but suddenly whips out magic, I guess, because he's a Native American. So whatever.
No, he read the book.
Whatever. Anyway, sorry again.
Yeah,
all right. X2 Sal's number one. Yep. My number two is Days of Future Past. It's got everything. It's got the classic team. It's got the new hotness. It's got it's just got all the stuff. And that's I think under Logan, that's my favorite.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I'm going to put Days of Future Past as number 2 for me as well. It it delivers on all the promises.
Yeah. Yep. My next one is X2, because also very good. Those top three, you could flip any one of them around. Big fan of all three of them. What's your number 3, Sal?
X-Men 2000. First one.
First one. That's number 4 for me.
That's fair.
X1.
Number 4 for me is Deadpool.
How far is Logan down on your list?
2 more.
Oh, wow.
I know. I like Logan. I think it's a great movie, but like in terms of and on its own, it's like, it's a great superhero flick. But as far as an X-Men movie, like I don't want to watch it a lot.
Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, so I said X1. You said Deadpool. I'm saying the Wolverine.
The Wolverine's my number 5 as well.
Nice.
Yep.
My number 6 is First Class.
That's fair. My number 6 is Logan.
All right. Next one for me is Deadpool 2.
Me too. Number 7, Deadpool.
Then after that is Deadpool. I'm not as big a Deadpool.
I know. First Class is mine. I'm not as big a First Class fan.
We didn't talk about. I was planning on us. We talked about enough, but we didn't talk about the new Deadpool Wolverine trailer.
Oh my God, that's true.
It's a good trailer. I like it.
I know. I'm in. You know what it is? It's basically just Old Man Logan, the comic book.
Yeah. I will say. I like the trailer, but when I saw online all the discourse of like, oh, did you see? I'm tired of the like, look at all the random bullshit they threw in there. It's like the whole multiverse saga has been this. Like, we just dumped the toy box out. It's not exciting to me anymore. What is exciting? Is Hugh Jackman, man. Dude still got it.
He looks exactly like, I mean, he does it, right? He doesn't look anything like he did in 2000, like 24 years ago, but he still looks pretty much exactly like Wolverine. That I didn't see him as Wolverine go, oh, oh man, no, he looks great. I'm like, yep,
great. But it's not just that; it's the gravitas he brings. It's like, oh, so this is the giving Deadpool a straight man idea from 2, but with just so much more weight behind it.
Yes, but you care.
Because he's got that, this scene in the bar. It's great. It's like if this is the tone of the movie where like Hugh Jackman's playing it 100% straight, but his claws aren't popping out quite right, and Deadpool's making jabs about that. It's like, this dynamic works. This is a good use of Deadpool.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that shot of him like putting the gun, when he pulls his gun out and Wolverine just pushes his head up against it and smiles at him. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that Wolverine. That's awesome. That's like a broken, angry Wolverine. I'm like, yeah.
It's not even just that Wolverine. It's that Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's got the sauce, man, because he makes you. It'd be so easy to like in that tone, not play it as straight as he does. But it's like I buy like he's doing a real thing. Like he's doing, and I like the line too. Like I couldn't help but have that like ping of like when Ryan Reynolds is like, "You're an X-Man. You're the X-Man." It's like, I mean, yeah,
you're the face of the franchise. No other movie did as well without you.
Yes. All right, the Deadpools, whatever. I don't remember my number. What is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Deadpool.
Yep. My 8's First Class.
First Class. Right on. All right, now we get into the not good ones.
Into the bad.
Into the bad ones. That the least bad of the bads, in my opinion, is Last Stand.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Oh, which I'm surprised to admit out loud, by the way.
Me too. Yeah, it's horrible. No, and this is, don't be confused.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. It's just they've made worse movies since this.
They have somehow made worse movies.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see our Last Stand episode, you have no idea how sad I was to realize Last Stand actually isn't as bad as a lot of superhero movies we've been getting recently.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters and just literally being like physically despondent and being like, and people being like, wasn't that bad? And I'm like, no, it was really bad. And then being like, no, but I mean, until the later ones.
Yeah, now we live in a world with like X-Men Apocalypse and Thor Love and Thunder and Quantumania and stuff.
Quantumania.
I guess it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Could be worse. I mean, this is about something.
Yeah. All right. Was Last Stand was your
Last Stand.
Least worst bad. Next one is the movie of the day, Dark Phoenix.
I have Apocalypse. Apocalypse is a little better than this one.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. At that point, we're splitting. We're splitting hairs. They're like, oh, it's personal taste. Like,
yep.
My next one's Apocalypse.
Yeah, and then my next one's Dark Phoenix because that's been working.
The last one, if X2 was never going to be top for you, we knew the second we watched it that nothing. And I'll throw this out there too. New Mutants.
Yes,
will not
be worse than
the worst movie.
No.
It's X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's the
X-Men
worst.
Origins. Yeah, it's the worst. We just got finished talking about how great Hugh Jackman is and how much gravitas he brings to the role. And also the first movie he literally stars in, it's about him, is also the worst one of the entire franchise.
It's wild. It's wild how bad it is. It is in the echelon of worst superhero movies ever. Like Catwoman.
Yes.
Like that's how bad X-Men Origins Wolverine is.
Yeah. It's that bad. It's funny because like I thought while watching Dark Phoenix, I thought maybe this might actually beat it because of how bad this movie, like how bland and just like wooden and straight and lame this was. Like I was like, this is just so nothing. But X-Men Origins Wolverine is like a joke.
Yeah. It's like Madam Web levels of like, what are we even doing?
It's like if they gave like the Farley brothers an X-Men movie.
The one thing I'll give this over to like a Madam Web is at least it's conceptually strong. Yeah, of course you're going to make a Wolverine movie. Of course you are. It's not like Madam Web where like why even this?
From the jump, I'm never going to give you a shot. Like you were never going to get a shot. I was never going to say, you got to admit, there's never going to be in my lexicon, you got to admit when it comes to Madam Web.
Yeah. So before we part, I do think the lesson, since I'm feeling a little bit reminiscent since this is the end of this franchise. We got one more movie, we got New Mutants, but that's kind of like the lame duck of the the leftover element of this. But it does make me reflective in that I feel like one of the major failures of this movie and the X franchise as a whole is their inability. This movie feels so much like, in a lot of ways, X1. Like if you released this in 2002, 2003, it feels similar. And I think the lesson there is a failure to adapt and innovate as the landscape changed around them. Because again, with the X franchise, you had all the things you needed to really compete with what the MCU was doing, but you kept doing things the same way.
Yeah.
And I think that is a lesson, and I should have brought this up in New X-Men. I think that's the real lesson MCU should pick up, because I think and truthfully, with as ubiquitous as superhero and franchise IPs have become, Hollywood in general, you need to learn how to adapt and innovate. Yes. I don't know where you pull from, because if you're looking at your peers, they're not adapting and innovating. We've seen a little bit of that with I feel like the last great example of this was John Wick, and then every action movie became a John Wick because John Wick innovated. And I think it was on this show or some other show. Yeah, I talked about like anime. Like anime still innovates. You know what I mean? Years I can tell. Maybe, sorry, I'm not the biggest anime guy. So maybe anime fans are actually like, no, they're in a rut too. Maybe. I'm just saying from Western lens, it feels like they're always doing new shit and trying new things and coming up with new ideas. Yeah. And that goes back to my thought of like, I get it, but like in hindsight, take a break.
Yes.
Let some new things come out.
Right.
Could you imagine if in the 80s, instead of making Ghostbusters and Star Wars and stuff like that, they were just remaking like The Searchers,
right?
And so there was nothing in the 80s for us to pull from because they were just remaking stuff from the 50s.
Oh my god, yeah! What a ghost town that would have been. Yeah, just if the Spielberg class never made movies,
yeah. So yeah, I think MCU take a second, to. And I know that trains are going and you got a billion things in the pipeline, but like, learn the lesson from this failure.
Yeah.
And look at the landscape and be ready to adapt. And the good news is very few genres, I think, are as good at adapting and consuming other types of stories than superhero movies.
That's true.
They're so archetypal and mythical. They can just ingest anything you throw at them.
You could literally do anything in the umbrella. Like you're good. Yeah. Yeah, I should also point out the alternate ending to this movie.
Yes, please.
It was a half-baked, like lame monologue from Xavier. We show that like Magneto has like a heads are cut off, we don't see them. Team of bad guys.
Cool.
Like Magneto's going to be a bad guy again, and he's got a brotherhood, but we can't see the actors because we're thinking we're going to make another movie.
Yeah.
But he's definitely going to come back as Magneto. And then Xavier like goes to Raven's grave and basically says like, I'm terrible and I failed. And then he gets in his car and he leaves. He just drives away from the mansion, and it pans up to space and says, basically, even though some things seem like the end, it's actually a beginning. And I'm like, no, it isn't. And
no, No, that's awful. This
Awful.
is a smart decision. This was a smart decision, because this at least ends on like a little like two of the best actors in the franchise.
Yes,
playing the two of the most iconic characters in the franchise. This is a nice little simple grace note, and it feels so simple that it really stands out for something like Aquaman 2.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Where it's like you can even manage this. You can even manage just a nice little like, hey, we're
Goodbye.
done, everybody. Bye. Like we couldn't even.
Nope. Eat a cockroach.
God damn it. God damn it.
I know. And I love how like they were like, oh yeah, no, and they had like reshoots and they cut all the reshoots. I'm like, why?
Yeah, man.
Why at that point? Like, why cut out anything?
Yeah, just let it
put more in.
Exactly. Literally say, James Wan, this is the last one. You made us $1 billion last time. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Do whatever you want. It's the last one.
Like killing Batman, I guess. Like do whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, even then we have a spare. Like you could have had, because they had both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton in that movie, apparently.
What? This is another show, and as always, we've run long, so I'm going to wrap us up. But this does maybe you and I should take a second, like a superhero movie post. I know we're still doing them, but it's like, what happened, man?
I know.
Like, there was this like golden age where it really felt like
we knew what we were
everything
doing.
was possible.
We finally grew up. We finally grew out of our infancy when it came to making these movies.
What was the moment? I'm thinking this takes me back to that scene in Breaking Bad. I think it's the end of season 3.
Yeah,
where Walt's reflecting back, and he's like, "Man, if I just died at this moment." It would have been perfect. What was the moment we should have like that the tipping point? I want to say it was. I got to look at. It was probably when Captain America: Civil War came out. Spider-Man's hanging out with the Avengers.
Yep.
And we're just around the corner from Batman v Superman.
Yes.
So there's the promise of maybe. Listen, Man of Steel divisive.
Right.
Maybe we can pull this one out.
Yeah.
Batman and Superman are gonna share the silver screen together.
Yes.
Maybe there's a moment here. Maybe that was our like.
Yeah, it was when Batman v Superman didn't make $1 billion. Because like Batman v Superman, I'm on record. There's multiple shows where I was like, well, Batman v Superman's going to make $1 billion because they're the most recognizable superheroes on the planet.
Yes,
and they're the most archetypal. They're the most obvious. They're the most. Everybody knows these characters. Everyone's like been teased this concept, and you've been waiting longer for that than you ever were for the Avengers. So here it is. And when it failed, and when I say failed, I mean like when it failed to make like Marvel money.
Yes.
And when the audience was so divided on it, I was like, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, because so at that point we had Civil War, we had Days of Future Past, and so we were in like the heyday, like we were feasting. Yes. And like you said, like not making like that should have been. And what's crazy about that is they kept. Man of Steel was divisive. Let's bring him back for Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman was even more divisive. Justice League, I guess. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Try other people.
And then they were like, okay, let's try other people on the same movie after it's done. Like, and get the guy who did it for over there. Like, what? Yeah. I remember being like, well, it shouldn't be Joss Whedon. That doesn't make any sense. Like, he's like, what a terrible idea. And it was.
Yeah. We get J.J. Abrams.
I mean, like, listen, they didn't they? Like, isn't J.J. Abrams like in like Warner Brothers employee? Wasn't he supposed to make a bunch of movies for them?
Yeah, they paid him a bunch of money to do nothing.
Yeah, where did I get that job,
dude? Man, and this is all through the lens of superhero movies, but it's just an example of like how off the rails things are. Like none of these people know what the fuck they're doing, dude.
No, they don't. It's the same as like corporate America or education. Like everybody, if you think someone on the top is kind of an idiot, you're probably right.
I wish I knew this off the top of my head, but there's like a theory, like a hypothesis around this about people getting promoted past their competency.
Yes. I know that
this thing, so we promote them, but no, they were good. It's basically the Michael Scott syndrome.
Yeah,
like when you find out in the office, oh, Michael Scott actually was a good salesman. He
right,
would be a good co-worker of these people. He's just a bad boss.
Yes, the Peter principle.
Yeah, Peter principle. Thank you.
Yeah, it's promoting people until they reach a position where they're no longer competent. The Dilbert principle used to say it's because they're promoted because they're incompetence.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, anyway, gang, that's again, we got New Mutants. That's going to be the real end of this version of Mutant Academy. We got plans for the future, but you know. But as far as this movie coverage, that ends with New Mutants. But this is the end of the Fox franchise. Now, where can the kids find you?
Well, kids, swing on by youtube.com/comicpop or Comic Pop Returns and check me out. If you're watching this live, we're going to go live with Back Issues, our flagship show on in like probably 5 minutes after the show ends. But snap! So check it out. But,
I gotta let Sal go.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
We got
time.
We got last couple things in the super chat. Nerdpocalypse Ultimate Origin for F4. Have them disappeared during the 5 years between the snap, then return from the negative zone just now with their powers.
Yeah.
I also suggested they should utilize the snap, but
the snap should have been when the X-Men came in, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's no heroes. Well, here are the X-Men.
Yep.
Almost like a Thunderbolts moment.
Yep. AK480 says the name of the cafe there at the end means the old buddies, and it's the road of peace on the right.
I assume this is for the Deadpool Wolverine trailer.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the cafe at the end of this movie.
Oh, there's a cafe. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, there you go. All right, great. That's nice.
There you go, gang. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. Links in the description for Comic Pop. Go check that jazz out. We're trying some new things over on the main show. We're breaking some stuff down. We talked about Fallout. We talked about the rumors about the Fantastic Four taking place in an alternate universe. Go check that out if you wouldn't mind. And we will see you all next time.